Turns out, everything you think you knew about probiotics may be wrong. It can get pretty confusing with the market saturated with probiotic everything. Let me give you my personal take and share what I got introduced to back in October. Seeds DS-01 plant-based capsule is not only a probiotic, but a prebiotic. There are 24 strains of specifically formulated probiotics targeted for digestive health, gut immunity, as well as additional systemic benefits. There's actually a prebiotic capsule encapsulating the probiotic inside, which ensures that the probiotics actually make it to your colon with 100% survivability to do its job. Many think of pre and probiotics as only gut support. It does support the gut barrier, but Seeds DS-01 also supports other areas of the body for whole body benefits, skin health, heart health, and micronutrient synthesis. Healthy regularity and an ease of bloating are just a few other common perks you may experience. So if you want something to help balance out your bowels and start a new healthy habit for the new year and your life, go to seed.com/digest25 and use code digest25 to receive 25% off your first month of Seeds DS-01 Daily Symbiotic. Coffee does more than boost your energy. A few cups a day may also lower your risk of depression and type 2 diabetes, as well as support weight management and could even help you live a longer life. Just keep in mind that if you're pregnant or nursing, experts recommend limiting caffeine intake. Welcome back to this week's Bite of Knowledge, where each Monday I come out with quick episodes highlighting a topic or ingredient to help you be more knowledgeable about the food industry, help you make more informed choices about what you feed yourself and your family, debunk myths, as well as share insight on superfoods that could help you live your life to its fullest. You're listening to the Digest This podcast, and I'm your host, Bethany Cameron. Now, all my coffee lovers rejoice because coffee may not be considered or thought of as such a, quote, superfood, but it actually can be. So let's get into it. Coffee. It is, of course, a beloved beverage known for its ability to fine-tune your focus and boost your energy levels. In fact, many people depend on their daily cup of joe right when they wake up to get their day started on the right foot, which is actually not a good thing if you are solely depending on it and there may be some underlying issues happening like poor sleep, anxiety, and so on. However, beyond its energizing effects, coffee has been linked to a long list of potential health benefits, giving you all the more reason to take a sip. So today, we are looking at some of the top evidence-based benefits of coffee. Now, first up, it boosts your energy levels. This is probably the number one attribute when people think of coffee. The caffeine in coffee is a central nervous system stimulant known for its ability to fight fatigue and increase energy levels. This is because caffeine blocks the receptors of a neurotransmitter that increases levels of other neurotransmitters in your brain that regulate your energy levels, including dopamine. You know, that thing that makes you happy. So no wonder caffeine and coffee in particular makes you feel happy, I guess you could say, right? One small study in a randomized controlled trial found that consuming caffeine increased time to exhaustion during a cycling exercise by 12% and significantly reduced levels of fatigue in the participants. Another study had similar findings, reporting that consuming caffeine before and during a round of golf improved performance, increased subjective energy levels, and reduced feelings of fatigue. I think we all can agree that coffee gives you a boost. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's move on to number 2. And no, I don't mean number 2 when referring to the restroom. All right. That was a bad joke. All right. So really, numero uno, coffee may be linked to a lower risk of type 2 diabetes. Some research suggests that consuming coffee regularly could be associated with a decreased risk of developing type 2 diabetes over the long term. In fact, one review of 30 different studies found that each cup of coffee people consumed per day was linked to a 6% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. This is thought to be due to coffee's ability to preserve the function of the beta cells in your pancreas, which are responsible for producing insulin to regulate blood sugar levels. Coffee is also rich in antioxidants, and so it may affect insulin sensitivity, inflammation, and even metabolism, all of which are involved in the development of type 2 diabetes. Just be sure you are drinking a healthy cup of coffee that's black or perhaps with some ghee or a splash of almond milk. Don't be thinking that caramel frappuccino or mocha latte will give you the same benefits. Now, next up, coffee could support brain health. There's been some interesting research that suggests coffee may help protect against certain neurodegenerative disorders, including Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. And according to one review of 13 different studies, people who regularly consumed caffeine had a significantly lower risk of developing Parkinson's disease. And what's even more interesting is that they also found caffeine consumption slowed the progression of Parkinson's disease over time. Another review of 11 additional studies with more than 29,000 observed found that the more coffee people consumed, the lower their risk of Alzheimer's disease. But again, please don't think you can drink 10 cups of coffee in a day. Because coffee dehydrates you, you must continue to drink water and electrolytes to combat dehydration. I personally stick to 1, sometimes 2 cups of coffee per day. Coffee may also promote weight management. And according to some research, coffee could alter fat storage and support gut health, both of which may be beneficial for weight management. For example, one review of 12 different studies concluded that higher coffee consumption could be associated with decreased body fat, especially in men. But don't worry, ladies, there was another study showcasing that increased coffee intake was also linked to a decreased body fat in women. Americans by far are the unhealthiest they've ever been, ever. And the obesity epidemic is getting worse. Obesity has been linked to several other diseases, and there's even new research finding that by 2030, nearly half of American adults will be obese. All that to say, you guys know I am not about fad diets, but I am about living a healthy lifestyle and eating for your health in the right way in hopes to feel good and be healthy. I am not demonizing or fat shaming here. What I am doing is simply bringing attention to the fact that this is a serious issue as obesity is affecting the health of so many Americans. And if we don't take action, the rates will continue to increase. I want everyone to be healthy, of course, and there is no one size fits all. So we are all made differently with different bone structures, sizes, and shapes. But again, here I am talking about obesity, which is beyond having a little extra weight. So if coffee can help facilitate you on your weight loss journey or management in order to get healthy, I am all for that. All right, guys, rant over. Next on the list here. So if you suffer from depression, good news, coffee has been linked to a lower risk of depression. Some studies have found that drinking coffee could be associated with a lower risk of depression, according to not just one, but several different studies. Each cup of coffee people consumed per day was linked to an 8% lower risk of depression in one particular study. And in another study, they found that drinking at least 4 cups of coffee each day was associated with a significantly lower risk of depression compared with drinking just 1 cup per day. Yikes. Okay, so again, just remember, coffee can sometimes increase anxiety, and some people metabolize caffeine fast and some metabolize it slower. So if you are one that metabolizes it slower, you may want to limit your coffee intake. I personally, and thankfully, am a fast metabolizer, and by noon, I don't even feel the effects anymore. So just be aware of that. And now, in addition to the other studies mentioned, there was another study in more than 200,000 people showed that drinking coffee was linked to a lower risk of death by suicide. Now, suicide is serious, and if you are suicidal, there is a confidential hotline you can call. Just dial 988 for any assistance related to depression or suicide. And please always seek professional help if you are struggling with depression or suicidal thoughts. Now, next on the list is liver protection. So interestingly, several studies suggest that coffee could support liver health and protect against disease. For instance, one study found that drinking more than 2 cups of coffee per day was linked to lower rates of liver scarring and liver cancer in people with liver disease. Other research shows that the more coffee people drink, the lower their risk of death from chronic liver disease. Drinking 1 cup of coffee per day was tied to a 15% lower risk, while drinking 4 cups per day, get this you guys, was linked to 71% lower risk. Dang, that is a huge increase from 1 cup to 4 cups. That's 1 cup was 15% lower risk and 4 cups was 71% lower risk. Other findings found that coffee consumption was associated with decreased liver stiffness, which is a measure healthcare professionals use to assess fibrosis, which is the formation of scar tissue in the liver. I mean, all this is just fascinating, honestly, to me. And I know you're probably wondering what kind, brand, brew, etc. of coffee is the best for your overall health and daily consumption. And again, please do not buy those donut or pumpkin spice flavored coffee bags, even the vanilla or hazelnut flavored ones. You want pure, organic, plain, and preferably mold-free coffee. I personally use the organic instant kind from La Repubblica Superfoods because I don't have to use any coffee maker, which holds potential for mold in the coffee reservoir as well as in the water tubes of the coffee maker. It's also low acidic, and I'm not the only one to opt for instant coffee at all. I'm just not an instant coffee fan, right? That's not me. But this coffee is honestly the best tasting I've ever had, even over freshly brewed. And I've been consuming it ever since 2020. I was in lockdown and I was like, I need to order some coffee. Long story short, tried this and I've been hooked ever since. So I haven't looked back. And not having a coffee maker also saves me space on my kitchen counter, which is just a bonus. So if you guys want to try this organic instant coffee that I consume, you can go to LaRepubblicaSuperfoods.com and use the code LittleSipper10, which will get you 10% off anything on their website. That's LaRepubblicaSuperfoods.com and use the code LittleSipper10. That's LILSIPPER 10 for a discount. Coffee can also support heart health. Some research shows that drinking coffee may benefit heart health. And in fact, one review found that drinking 3 to 5 cups of coffee per day was tied to a 15% reduced risk of heart disease. Another review of 21 studies, so not just 21 people, 21 different studies, they did a review and that showed that drinking 3 to 4 cups of coffee daily was associated with a 21% lower risk of stroke. However, keep in mind that caffeine could affect blood pressure levels. So therefore, people with unmanaged blood pressure may need to limit or moderate their caffeine intake. Now let's talk about longevity. Some research suggests that coffee could help extend longevity thanks to its multitude of potential health benefits. For example, one review of 40 different studies concluded that drinking 2 to 4 cups of coffee daily was associated with a lower risk of death, regardless of factors like age, weight status, and alcohol consumption. Similarly, there was another study in over 1,500 people. They found that drinking caffeinated coffee was linked to a lower risk of death after 12 and 18 years of follow-up. Furthermore, drinking at least 1 cup of coffee per day was also associated with a lower risk of death from cancer. However, in this study, they focused only on those in the Mediterranean, which of course also could be due to their diet high in olive oil, fish, and overall healthier eating habits and lifestyle. So that's always something to factor in and consider when you look at these studies. Okay, so let's summarize this and break it down. There's no doubt researchers have studied coffee extensively for its many health benefits, and results have shown significant improvements in various health issues, right? But keep in mind that some people may need to limit their intake, including people who are pregnant or breastfeeding, children and adolescents, and people with certain health conditions. Still, drinking coffee in moderation from about, I would say, no more than 3 cups per day has been associated with several health benefits and is generally considered safe for most adults. But if you are just one who cannot handle coffee, or perhaps it gives you the jitters or anxiety, last week I did a bite of knowledge all about the benefits of matcha, which may be the solution for you. This was just last Monday, so I highly suggest going back 1 week and listening to that short episode. Thanks again for listening, and remember to share this episode with 2 of your close friends and family members and share it on social media and tag me at Lil Sipper so I can see you enjoyed the episode too. And I may even repost it in my own stories. See you guys on Wednesday for a much anticipated interview. Thanks for listening to this episode of Digest This. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review in your podcast app to let us know. If you're ever wondering how you can support me and this podcast, sharing it with your friends and family is the best way. This is a Resonant Media production produced by Drake Peterson and edited by Chris McComb. To email the show, message us at digestthispod@gmail.com. See you next time. The content of this show is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for individual medical and mental health advice and does not constitute a provider-patient relationship. As always, talk to your doctor or health team first.